If you ever wanted to feel like a chess piece, then... Oh wait, you haven't? Okay, well, regardless, this game is still an amazing spectacle that requires you to think ahead and work with your team. When I played this with my group, we used literally 100 folding chairs, but if you don't have that, I'll explain an alternative later on. The only knowledge that this game requires is how a knight moves in chess. You play chess on a grid, and when the knight makes a move, it goes 2 squares in one direction and 1 square in the other direction. It doesn't matter whether the 2 square part of the movement is up and down or left to right, as long as it goes 2 squares one way and 1 square the other way. A knight in the center of the board has 8 possible tiles that it can move to, and it is allowed to jump over other pieces. For this game, you're going to set up a giant 10 by 10 grid as your play area. By far, the most important part of setting up your grid is making sure that the grid is clearly defined. People will only get confused if they're not sure which row and column a chair belongs to, which only happens if you're not neat with your setup. To help keep things as clean as possible, I'd recommend aligning the entire first row and the entire first column first. That way, for every chair you set up after that, you will see exactly where it should be spaced out. Now that you're done with the setup, split everyone up into 2 teams that you can easily tell the difference between. When we played, we just split them up boys versus girls. Explain that everyone is going to find a seat in the grid, and you'll take turns making knight moves, 2 in one direction, 1 in another. When it's your turn to move, you'll stand up and collapse the chair you were just sitting in, leaving it in its spot on the grid. You can then make a knight's move to any chair that is still set up and is not already occupied by another person. As long as there's an open chair that's 2 away from you in one direction and 1 away from you the other direction, then you're still in, and it will be the next person's turn. If, however, you've got no spaces to move to, then you are out, and you collapse your chair and step out of the grid. Once all of the players from one team have been eliminated, then the other team wins. Now that they understand how to play, you can have them take turns picking their starting spot, alternating teams. As they do this, write their names in your notes on your phone so that you know what the move order will be. Once everyone has been seated, tell the first person who sat down to make their first move, then the next person in the order who is on the other team, then back to the first team for the third person in the order, and so on. In the beginning, there's a lot of open space, but as the game goes on, it gets more and more crowded. If teams are smart, they'll start to work together to take out people from the opposing team by taking away their choices before they get a chance to use them. But hopefully they're careful and don't end up hurting their own chances at staying alive. Both times I've played this, it came down to the wire and sparked a friendly rivalry. Now, if you're thinking you want to play this game but don't have access to 100 chairs, I think the best alternative is to take 100 red solo cups and set them up in a grid. Players can just stand over the cup, and when it's their turn to move, they can either crush the cup or flip it upside down to show that it's no longer in play. And the whole time I've been talking, I've been referring to the grid as a 10 by 10 grid, and that works really well for about 12 people, but you can adjust the size based on your group. Regardless, this is a game that your youth aren't going to forget anytime soon. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed, check out the description.